Pastor Shipe, if you would join us, and I'm going to have you start, please, by going over what are the core concepts of the gospel of Jesus Christ.
All right, before I start, is there anyone who has not yet gotten one of these?
Oh, I'll give it, Pastor Shipe, I'll take it.
Perfect. Okay.
This is a job I can do, but you got to give them to me.
There you go. Have you gotten one?
Gotcha.
Perfect. All right. So while he's handing those out, so there's nothing on here that you have to fill out. This is a little bit different than the workshop we did a few weeks back on missions. So this is really just all for reference as we just talk this through, and we'll try to be somewhat quick here. But the core gospel concepts are really some important things we want to help make sure that anyone, really not just children, but anyone we're sharing the gospel to in this case, understands. Number one is that God is the creator, because often these days kids are not taught that, and if they don't understand that God created us, nothing else in the gospel really makes sense. So you kind of have to start there sometimes, especially for kids who've been growing up in the public schools, but often not even just them, that if they don't really get that God is the creator, the fact that God expects us to be perfect, that expects us to obey him, why would he expect that unless he created us? And so often we need to start there and help them understand that first. And then from there, we've got to help them understand a little bit about who God is. They need to know that God is holy. Now, sometimes you're talking to younger kids, that word might be a little bit beyond them. You can just say that he's perfect or that he's sinless, whatever word you want to use there. But the idea is that he is completely perfect, and he cannot have anything to do with sin, and that he requires us, since he created us, to be perfect as well. And then from there, they need to understand that they themselves are sinners and deserve the judgment of God, and they need to fully understand that. We'll get to that in a little bit. But once they've understood their own sinfulness, their own that they deserve God's judgment, then we can actually get to the good news. The good news that Jesus loved us by coming as God in the flesh, living a sinful life, dying for us, and taking that punishment. And once they've understood their own sinfulness, their own need of judgment, then we can begin to help them explain, to realize that. Once they understand that God took our punishment through Christ, then we also want to help them understand the importance of the resurrection. Sometimes we can easily skip over the resurrection. We talk about Jesus dying for us, but the resurrection is just as important as his death. Because, as Paul says, if Jesus had stayed dead, let's eat, drink, for tomorrow we die. Yeah. And if they don't get that, they don't understand that Jesus conquered death. He conquered sin, and that he now offers eternal life. So we have to really give them all 6 of these concepts so that they get a full understanding of the gospel. Again, they don't have to get every detail about every part of this, but they need to just have a basic understanding of these concepts so that we are making sure that they're understanding the core gospel message.
All right, thank you for that. And Brother Nathan, you can just leave these on because we're going to be bouncing back and forth. So thank you for that, Pastor Shipe. So I want to go over the next section in our study guide. What is true salvation? Well, we understand that salvation is not just saying the right things, some type of just canned prayer where you just say the right things. It's not a matter of our vocabulary. Rather,